Welcome to this episode of In the Mix. I'm Gina Jordan, and we have a star-studded show coming up right now.
We have to make sure everybody goes to see it.
Adam Scott, Amy Poehler, Jane Lynch, and Jessica Alba. These names together may sound like a big Hollywood studio movie, but this lineup is the cast of an indie film you're gonna want to watch.
You have both turned a 9-year marriage into a 100-year war.
Actress Mary-Louise Parker recently gathered her famous friends to help raise money and change lives.
Once in your life, won't you do what feels right?
And he produces hit after hit for some of the best names in the music biz: Urban, Swift, and Pink. Now it's Butch Walker's time, ITM's Artist of the Week, to step into the spotlight. That's all coming up right now. You are in the moment. You are in the mix. In the Mix with Chris Rock.
I'm Alec Baldwin. I'm here with the gorgeous Gina.
I'm Larry King, and you're watching In the Mix.
I'm Kelly Ripa, and you're watching In the Mix.
I'm Matt Lauer, and you're watching In the Mix.
I'm Kathy Lee.
And I'm Hoda.
And you're watching In the Mix.
I'm Bethany Frankel, and you're watching In the Mix.
In the Mix.
Welcome to In the Mix. I'm your host, Gina Jordan, coming at you from downtown New York City at Studio 718 in the heart of NoHo. That's north of Houston Street. Now, we are working hard, event hopping around town, bringing you all the action from some of the hottest events. First up, In the Mix goes one-on-one with Emmy Award-winning actress Mary-Louise Parker. Now, Mary recently brought together several of her famous friends to host a charity event in New York City that helped change lives halfway around the world.
This is overwhelming for me, and I think that there are many good people, and all we need to do is to work towards creating peace in the world. It's possible.
Several famous faces, including Alec Baldwin, Parker Posey, and Hunter Parrish, recently gathered at the City Winery in Tribeca to help create peace, save lives, and honor actress Mary-Louise Parker, whose latest full-time project is Hope North.
I'm going to introduce her. And, Mary-Louise is somebody I've known for a long time, since like 1989. So I guess next year is like 25 years I've known her. But, causes like this, where they're dealing with abducted children and military militias there, what have you. I was saying to my wife earlier, I said, these are things that we can't even imagine. To see that Mary-Louise is making this an issue she cares about, I'm very proud of her, very.
I love Mary-Louise's passion for charity, but in specifically with Okello, he is a good friend of hers, and I was introduced to him through her, and introduced to his story and the organization, and I'm just so proud to be here and try and get people to understand really how massively influential he can be and we can be to raise money for these kids.
Hope North is a grassroots organization that provides education for innocent victims of war in Uganda, founded by a child soldier, Okello Sam.
At the age of 16, I was abducted, and so I'm a former child soldier. And so I know what children who are forced to do horrible things go through.
Okello says all we need is love, and the support of actress Mary-Louise Parker doesn't hurt either.
Susan Sarandon introduced me to Mary-Louise like 4 years ago, and since then she has stuck with Hope North. She supports Hope North. She's such a passionate mother.
Okello's story of how he went from a victim of war to the founder of a life-altering organization is a remarkable accomplishment, one that fully inspired actress Mary-Louise Parker to fully take on Hope North's mission and make it her own.
It's really entirely about Okello, and Okello is the one who should be honored, and a few more people happen to know me. But Okello is the man who's made it all happen, and he's the one who turned his agony and the things that he suffered, he turned them into hope for children, and he's given them possibility, and they would have none. These are children who have no other options, really. They have nowhere to go. A lot of them have been tortured or forced to torture or have been desensitized. and forced to carry a gun, and that's just too harrowing for me. So this cause it feels very easy to me. It feels very obvious to support.
Okello, Sam, give us a little bit of background how the two of you connected, how you connected with this organization.
Well, Chris Talbot, I was working with him with the Heifer Project, which is another wonderful charity, and he just thought I would connect to Okello, and I met him, and I did, and he told me some of the things that were going on over there, and I was ashamed that I didn't know about them, and I was horrified, and I just felt, well, it was almost like that, you know, I've got a barn and I've got some this and we'll put on a show, and I just thought, you know, I know some musicians, it's like the 11th hour, I was, you know, I'm at least good for that, but so I had brought in some musicians and we put on a concert, and
Rufus
helped,
Wainwright,
yeah, who's here again tonight,
incredible,
was my hero, and then we've had a few more events since, and he's come to my house for Thanksgiving a couple times and to visit
Rufus
me.
and Okello at your Thanksgiving?
Okello, I would love Rufus. You're always invited if you wanted to come. But yeah, Okello, and he's just wonderful. I mean, my mother loves him, my children. He's an amazing person.
I've noticed upstairs there's these handmade drums. Have you seen him actually create one? Where does he create?
I haven't watched them created, but I've seen him play them countless times, and the sound is really magical. I wouldn't leave them in the rain, however. They're made from goats, but they're beautiful.
It's always fascinating to me there's a moment that connects you to it that there's no stopping you. You just have to give back, and I feel like you've obviously made that connection with Hope North.
Yeah, I feel like you have to be passionate about it because, you know, I don't have a lot of spare time. I have 2 children and I work, and something about this I feel really driven to help, and it takes a lot of work actually, because you know a lot of people, but a lot of people can't come, and you know, the lovely Parker Posey said she would come immediately.
Parker Posey is sitting here. Hello.
It's hard to get everyone together on the same night, and I had an MC that dropped out 2 days ago, so I'm, you know, on my breaks at work, I'm trying to find, so you have to really, really care in order to make something like this happen.
You have several upcoming projects.
I'm doing a play on Broadway called Snow Geese. Right now I'm rehearsing it, and it opens October 24th. It's a family, 1917, they've lost their patriarch and they've lost their fortune, and it's very Chekhovian. It's like watching a Chekhov play, I think, probably, but it's a little bit more contemporary in feel. It doesn't feel leaden, you know, it feels alive. I think people might like it.
We're going to get the word out. Hope North.
And you can also go on Charity Buzz, and there are a lot of auction items that will benefit Hope North, you know, set visits,
fantastic.
And
this is actually
lunches with people, exercise classes with people.
Lunches with people?
Come take an exercise class with me and Parker Posey.
Make us exercise.
Don't make me do it. I could lie down on the ground right now and laugh at the thought of it.
That sounds like a lot of fun, working out with Parker Posey and Mary-Louise Parker.
I mean,
in the state. Now, is that in New York City? Mm-hmm. Okay, so New York City, you could work out with them and benefit Hope North. All together, fantastic. Thank you so much for doing this today. What a pleasure, guys. To
and you can borrow our leotards, too.
For more information, you can log on to hopenorth.org. Still to come in this episode, In the Mix goes one-on-one with our Artist of the Week, Butch Walker. Plus, we bring you a movie you're going to want to watch with an all-star cast, A.C.O.D. That's all coming right up. Don't move. We'll be right back.
In the mix.
Just point.
With nowhere to
Just draw.
to turn.
Just share.
You saw me
as you naturally would.
and showed me
Just point.
how much I still
Just draw.
have to learn.
Just share.
And the odds
Smart. Inspired by you. LG Cinema 3D Smart TV.
This episode of In the Mix is presented by LG. Life's good. Catering for this episode of In the Mix is provided by Delmonico's Kitchen, located at 207 West 36th Street and 7th Avenue in New York City.
in the mix.
Welcome back to this episode of In the Mix. I'm Gina Jordan, bringing you all the celebrity and event action around town. Now, we recently took a little field trip right around the corner to one of my favorite restaurants in NoHo, Forcella, where we went one-on-one with ITM's Artist of the Week, Butch Walker. Katy Perry, Taylor Swift, Keith Urban, Pink, Avril Lavigne, Fall Out Boy, Train, Gavin DeGraw. What do all these artists have in common? It's singer-songwriter and producer extraordinaire, Butch Walker. Butch is one of the most sought-after producers in the biz. But now, this underground sensation is becoming well known for his prolific lyrics and signature sound with, well, no synthesizers. Butch even co-starred alongside Matthew McConaughey in his own video, Synthesizers.
Everybody's writing songs with synthesizers.
This Southern boy kicked off his music career in 1997 and experienced some mainstream success with his band, The Marvelous Three. This isn't Butch's first time at the rodeo. He's been touring on the road, performing his own music live for the past 15 years. Now, Butch is about to officially hit the road again on a nationwide tour, promoting a new album, Peachtree Battle, and a new project that puts Butch center stage on the big screen in a documentary film, Out of Focus. All right, guys, so we're here at New York City. I am sitting here with Butch Walker at Coachella.
How are you?
When a lot of people say the name Butch Walker, they don't realize all of the names that you write with and that you collaborate with over the years.
I've done records for Pink and for everyone from her to Katy Perry to Fall Out Boy to Train to Weezer. It's all over the place. It's a lot of different people, and I like having that variety in my life. It's nice to be able to do a lot of different styles of music because I grew up on so many different styles of music. I grew up like a radio baby in a very small southern town where the only music I knew was what was on FM and AM radio. So it was nice to be able to jump from genre to genre and help people with their records. But I guess first and foremost, which is what some people don't know unless you're, you know, one of the underground few. I've been a touring artist for years and years, so I still go out and play and make records for myself, and I enjoy it.
So you just found out today that you got a CMA with Taylor Swift.
CMA nomination, yeah. There's her record Red. I worked on it with many other people, but it's still cool to have your phone blowing up when you wake up and people going, "Congratulations on your CMA nomination."
Seriously.
I was like, for what? I had to like look it up. I was like, for what? So it's pretty cool.
Is there a specific way that you like to collaborate? In other words, some artists don't even ever meet each other. Do you actually sit down one-on-one with Keith Urban in the studio and go at it?
I love when dudes and when girls are very hands-on in the studio and want to be involved in the creative process, because a lot of times they're not. A lot of times they just show up and go, "Okay, tell me where to sing," and then they leave.
Wow, that's interesting.
And so I like it when they get into the whole process.
So Taylor Swift, what was it like working with her?
Very hands-on. She's very, very professional. She's extremely smart and knows exactly what she wants and what she needs to do for her fans as well. But she also is very quick at doing it. She can sing great in the studio and play great, and it was real easy. It was real easy.
And she's so young to have that magical quality.
At her age, I was definitely not as talented as she is.
Now, something like Pink, I would imagine, would also be hands-on when it comes to her music.
She's
as well.
a force, like one of the most talented people I've ever worked with, ever, in the studio. Has, like I said, the best handle on how she wants to do things, very hands-on with writing the lyrics, and can get up there and sing it in one take with a glass of wine in one hand, you know, and just nail it, and I don't even have to tell her to sing it again.
When it comes to creating your own music, do you keep it very separate from the collaborations you're working on with other artists?
I think when I write a song for myself, I know it's for me, because lyrically it's coming from a more personal place and coming from something that I don't even know if I were to recite those lyrics to another artist for them to sing, that they would even understand it.
Do you have an upcoming LP coming out?
I do. Very excited about it.
People are, I think, going to be blown away with this next LP from what you've described.
My dad passed away the week before it was coming out, so I just recently said goodbye to him and a lot of the songs on the record.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I'm very, very sorry.
Thanks. That's all right.
That is not easy.
It's not easy. I'll cry when the camera's off, but
no crying.
It's okay. You know, he's been my biggest fan and my best friend for years, and so to give me inspiration to write songs even metaphorically speaking about him, not even literally, is a gift that he gave me, because he gave me a lot to write about.
And everybody that knew my dad loved him because he left that kind of effect on people. He was very selfless, and he's a good dad to me.
I've learned a great lesson because I wasn't always that close with my parents growing up, and I'm glad that I did get that way later. I mean, I've always told people, it's like, if there's something wrong with your relationship with your parents, which a lot of people are having, have those problems, get it right before they're gone. And that's important to me. And I'm glad that I got it right with my dad before he left.
What did he do for a living? Was he a writer as well, like yourself?
No, he worked for AT&T for 26 years, retired, and then got bored and went back to work. He's just very working class, blue collar. We came up very, very, middle class, hard working family, and I had to cut wood in the winter and cut grass all summer, and he made me work for everything I ever got. And I think that that's something that I would like to pass on along to my son, who is 6, and just instill some of those qualities into him that my dad did to me.
Being that he had the kind of job, obviously he was able to spend more time with you. I think if he was somebody who was touring, because life on the road is not easy.
I did about 250 shows a year for all of the 90s. And then when around 2000 I started getting a lot more studio work, and that kind of kept me off the road more, but I didn't want to be off the road all the time. I enjoy it. I feel like I grew up the better half of my life living in a bus or a van, and so there's something about it that is calming to me and is normal practice. So I think I still always need that in my life. I just don't want it as much as it used to be. I had nothing else, but now I have a lot more to live for, which is my son is someone that every time I come home, he's learned a new alphabet, a new language. It's like I've got to hurry, and I missed a lot of that. I missed a lot of I missed a lot of hanging out with my parents when I was on the road after high school. I didn't come home and visit as much as I should have. So I think moderation is the key with everything. And while you're on the road, moderation is the key with everything.
Any fun stories? Anything on the road that's like memorable you'll never forget? One good story, Butch?
The first night I can honestly say was great because I was able to play the venue in Atlanta. I've been playing for 15 years, this theater called the Variety Playhouse, and my dad was at every single show. Always, even up to the point where he had to have oxygen tanks and stuff, he was there. And so this was the first stop of the tour and the first time he wasn't there. So there was a big void in the place, but there was also a big celebration to be had. So we filled the place up with balloons and confetti and had a big send-off for my dad, and it was pretty unforgettable. The whole place was crying.
When it comes to your solo career, you're touring the country right now, so how many stops have you done up to this point?
This is a short run. This is only about 7 or 8 major cities, but it's because we're doing shows after people go see the documentary, the Out of Focus documentary that is an hour-and-a-half movie about myself, which is weird to say, but it's been getting a lot of praise, I suppose, in certain circles, so it's nice, and I'm really glad that we're getting to go out and let fans see it and then play a show afterwards.
How did that project come about?
It was Peter and Shane, these 2 guys that were just filming a making of the record, on my last record, and then they decided, hey, we want to make a movie about you. And I was like, a movie? That's not going to be very interesting. And they said, well, just let us follow you around for a while with the camera. And they went and talked to my family. They went to Georgia. They talked to my ex-band members, interviewed them. And when I saw it back, I was very shocked. I was like, wow, this is pretty raw. This is pretty candid. There's a lot of people talking smack and a lot of people being very candid, including my father, who was interviewed in it a lot. And I think that after I saw it back, I said, yeah, you guys can put this out.
That's so nice that they captured some moments with your dad. I was going to ask you, did you have a favorite moment? But it sounds like
there's a moment I don't think I could watch again because he was alive then and now he's not, and it's really hard for me to go back and visit that. But he steals the show in it. Let's just put it that way.
I hope he remembers me as a stern dad, and then I hope he remembers at the same time that I loved him very much. So I hope that I can be an example to him that that it's something that he would want to pass along to his son.
You penned a book a few years back, right?
I did a book called Drinking with Strangers. I don't want to say it's the paperback version of the documentary. It's more of a maybe a lessons in what to do, what not to do in music. And I think just from me coming up in the music business and also playing music for a living since I could crawl, basically, it was worth, I think, writing it down. And HarperCollins put it out, and they seem to think it went over pretty well.
Well, we're going to dedicate this entire segment to your father.
Thank you.
I would love to, it would mean a lot to me to be able to do that. You guys can, of course, log on to butchwalker.com to find out where Butch is and where you guys can see him up and coming all over the country. To check out the film, go to his website as well to find out where you can screen it locally. It was an absolute pleasure. I got to hang out with Butch Walker.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Still to come, Adam Scott, Amy Poehler, Jane Lynch, and Jessica Alba. It's an all-star cast in an indie film that you're gonna want to watch, A.C.O.D. Don't move. In the Mix, I'll be right back.
In the mix.
Just point.
With nowhere left
Just move.
to turn.
Just share.
You saw me
As you naturally would.
and showed me
Just point.
how much I still
Just move.
have to learn.
Just share.
And the odds
Smart. Inspired by you. LG Cinema 3D Smart TV.
in the mix.
Welcome back to this episode of In the Mix. I'm Gina Jordan. Next up, it's ITM's movie you're gonna want to watch. Adam Scott, Amy Poehler, Jane Lynch, and Jessica Alba. Now that lineup sounds like a Hollywood blockbuster, but it's actually an all-star cast that's getting a lot of buzz in an indie film, A.C.O.D, Adult Children of Divorce.
We have to make sure everybody goes to see it.
ITM recently hit the landmark Sunshine Cinema on the Lower East Side to capture the New York City premiere screening of the indie film A.C.O.D, Adult Children of Divorce. Directed and conceived in the mind of first-time feature film director Stu Zickerman.
My family's divorce was kind of funny and weird and irreverent, and I just sort of, I wanted to do something that was funny.
Park and Rec star Adam Scott is the leading man in A.C.O.D. What do you want people to take away from this film?
Hopefully they'll think it's funny, I think it's funny, and I hope that that people take laughs away from it. Can you take laughs somewhere?
You were a last-ditch effort to save this marriage.
That's a stupid lie. Darling, you were an accident.
Now, before A.C.O.D went nationwide, it was a little indie film that premiered for the very first time at the Sundance Film Festival. In the Mix was at the festival earlier this season and caught up with the entire star-studded cast.
I play Carter, and in the movie I find out that as a child I was part of this study called Children of Divorce. It ended up being a book written about my childhood. And so I kind of freak out and just sort of re-examine my life and try to pull all these broken pieces.
Amy Poehler. I know you work with her, Parks Recreation, but what was it? This is your first film together?
Yeah, it is, actually. She's one of my favorite people in the world. She's the best. And so it was just nice because we had just finished shooting the show, and so we got to hang out more and do this and didn't have to take a break from each other, which she's my favorite, so it's great.
Amy Poehler plays Adam's, a.k.a. Carter's stepmother, Sandra, in the film.
Do you know how many men I could have married? A lot of men. And I married your father, who had an adult son the same age as me.
Like a year younger than you.
You think?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It's irrelevant.
Why'd you take this role?
Well, I was really excited to work with this cast. I mean, I would read the phone book with Adam. I love him, and I think he's
the same about you.
A tremendous actor, and everything he does is great. So anytime I get a chance to work with him, and Catherine O'Hara is a hero of mine, genuinely, and Richard Jenkins is a tremendous actor in person. So those kind of things it was easy to say yes.
What's it like to go from Adam's girlfriend on Parks and Recreation to his stepmother?
Strangely easy. and we had to not really like each other, and that was also easy too. It was fun to get to yell at each other.
It's just a fabulous cast.
Amy Poehler. Did you have scenes with Amy?
Yeah, a little bit.
Actor Ken Howard plays Gary.
It was really fun to make, and the whole cast was really terrific and fun to work with. It's like the kiss of death usually, you know, you worry
The product's not going to work. No.
But it really sure felt good, and it really did read wonderfully. Very funny and true.
What was it like working with this hot Jessica Alba?
Oh, it was great. She's really sweet and cool, and it makes up for her being so ugly.
Jessica Alba, who has not one but 2 films hitting theaters this month, including Machete Kills and A.C.O.D, where she plays Michelle, a wild girl with a dark side.
So how do you two know each other?
We're part of a
book club.
Book club.
We're in a book club.
It was great. It was great to play a normal human being and not necessarily always a, over-the-top character, superhero, what have you. And so it was nice playing just like a normal chick who isn't perfect and has issues and...
You're not perfect, Jessica, come on.
Well, sometimes in some of the characters that I play, it's like, no one can relate to this, like it's so over the top, but, you have to stay true to what that is, and they don't like they don't like to show the dark side. But this, we like to show the dark side. It was fun.
Amy Poehler, what was it like?
All like tongue-in-cheek,
What was it like working with Amy Poehler?
Well, I mostly worked with Adam, so all of my
None with Amy.
None with Amy, but I love Amy. I'm a huge fan. She knows it. I've gushed over her many a times. It's still so embarrassing because I'm just like, oh my God, Amy Poehler is so rad.
Actor Clark Duke from Kick-Ass 2, The Office, and Hot Tub Time Machine also stars in A.C.O.D.
Well, my brother's getting married. What's it been, 3 or 4 months?
Oh my God, oh my God.
Whoa. Yeah, it has been.
Yeah.
It's been like 4 months.
I play Trey. I'm getting married, and I want our parents to be at the wedding, so I try to get my brother to get them back together because they've been divorced my whole life.
Jane Lynch plays Dr. Judith, the psychologist that wrote the book about Carter.
So you're afraid of making the same mistakes your parents made?
No.
I'm going to call that echoing. Echoing.
Don't write that down.
Love it.
No, it's not echoing.
I'm writing the book.
I'm sorry?
Okay, so I'll decide if echoing is in the book or not. And I've just coined a new term, and I think it's clever.
These days, Lynch is everywhere, picking all the right projects, juggling several roles, including starring in the 5th season of the hit series Glee. Glee, it's so big and huge. Did you ever think it was going to be as big as it was?
I know the power of musical theater because I know it in my life, and I know how prominently it was featured in.
Favorite musical Broadway show?
Funny Girl, and Barbra Streisand and Funny Girl. And so I knew that there would be a rabid audience. I did not think it would be so big. I mean, I didn't know one way or the other. But I knew that if it took off, that the audience would be "Arr!" And they are, but there's a lot of them.
And there are about you. Lynch is out and proud. She isn't afraid to talk about her sexual orientation, and she will gladly give props to other gay women in Hollywood who paved the way before her.
I don't think my sexual orientation has anything to do with my success or lack of success. People like Rosie and Ellen and Katie and Melissa, the people who stepped up at the height of their fame and said, I know y'all love me and everything, but I'm a homosexual.
Right.
And
but
nobody
you had
ran
the fun
away.
part. But you had the fun part of playing those roles.
I do, absolutely. Yeah.
It's amazing that you get to actually play the roles of something that you can relate to some extent.
Yeah,
right?
well, I don't play a lot of gay women, really. I only play.
This is true. 40-something you were.
I was I played a gay woman in Best in Show, but everybody else, although I probably come off as like domineering and maybe associate that with.
No, not at all.
But yeah, like this character I'm playing tonight.
You're very feminine, damn it.
Damn it, I am.
This film seems like an incredible cast, though. It's almost like summer camp.
Well, yeah, it was like summer camp.
I'm an A.C.O.D.
I'm an A.C.O.D.
The only club you're forced to join.
You can catch A.C.O.D. in theaters nationwide right now. Now that's going to do it for this episode of In the Mix. I'm Gina Jordan, and from everybody on our show, thanks so much for watching. We look forward to seeing you next time in the Mix. This week's ITM Celebrity Selfie Shot is brought to you by LG. Life's good. Are you good at that?
Shot ourselves?
Yeah.
Both of us in one shot?
Yeah.
No, you're yeah, already.
Here we go, selfie shot, Kevin Spacey. mugshot. One of the best parts about being in the mix on the red carpet is the celebrity selfie shot this season. And thanks to our trusty two-way video record LG phone, I'm covered.
It's so much fun.
In the mix.